Welcome to the Love Lounge podcast. This is not a place to learn, it's a place to land. Nothing here has to be earned, and nothing needs to be fixed. Love Lounge is an atmosphere, not a lesson. Here's your host, Laura Doughty.
Can you believe it? We're halfway through the year. A funny thing happened when I released the cover of my book, Raised by Fire. I released it on January 1st, and I'm sure you would probably expect this. People congratulated me. There was some celebration, and some people even assumed the book had already been released. And I absolutely can understand why. Because from the outside, it looked like the story had arrived. The title existed, the cover existed, and the book had been written. Of course, I was still editing and all those things, but I was pretty much done. So everything looked finished. But what I've realized over the last several months is this. A cover release and a story release are not the same thing, not even close. A cover is an object. A story is a living thing. A cover can be designed, printed, shared, posted. But a story, especially one that has lived inside your body for decades, is something else wholly, completely, entirely. Because before a story becomes a book, it is an experience. It is a wound, a lesson, a season, a becoming. And for me, Raised by Fire has been all of those things. What's becoming clear to me as November approaches, I cannot believe we're 4 months away. What is evident is that this story existed long before I ever put the words on a page. It's lived in silence. It's lived in confusion, for sure. It's lived in questions. It's lived in survival. And eventually, it lived in understanding. The book wasn't created when I sat down to write it. The book was created while I was living it. Page by page, year by year, choice by choice, fire by fire. One of the things that I think people misunderstand about a memoir is that they assume it's about what happened. But what interests me now isn't what happened. It's what remained, what survived, and what transformed. Because the story isn't, look what happened to me. The story is, look who I became. And that distinction matters because I never wanted Raised by Fire to be a story about being broken. I wanted it to be a story about being refined. There's a massive difference. One keeps you in the fire, and the other shows you what the fire created. I've realized lately that I've spent years carrying the story, not hiding it, not suppressing it. Well, maybe a little. Just carrying it for the most part. The way we carry things, that become a part of us. But November feels different because this fall, y'all know it's one of my favorite times of the year. The story's going to leave my hands. Not in a dramatic way, and definitely not in a performative way. Just honestly. The story no longer belongs only to me. And there's something so beautiful about that. Also, something extremely vulnerable. And I've made that decision to step out in faith because vulnerability is, I don't think really anybody is massively, would call that being their strength. But it is something that I understand is a part of the process. And it's the only way that the story can make a difference. I think that's one reason this year's marathon feels so connected to the book. On the surface, they seem completely unrelated. One is a memoir and one is a race. But both are asking the same thing of me. Presence, the biggest one that I've learned, trust, and release. For years, I've carried the story. For years, I've carried the lessons. And for years, I've carried and run the miles. And now all three are arriving at the same finish line. The marathon, the book, and holy Jesus, turning 60. Y'all, I know it's just a number, but it's all good. What's happening right now isn't the release, not yet. This isn't the whole story. This is the, Daisy, with your cute looking monkey mouth. This isn't the whole story. This is the inhale before it, the first breath, the first place where the story begins to breathe out loud. And that's what these next few months will be. Not marketing, not promotion, not performance, just a gradual opening and releasing, a sharing, a remembering, and like I said, a release. I think we all carry stories like this. Some we've told, some we've hidden, and some we haven't fully understood yet. And maybe the question isn't, when will I tell the story? Maybe the question is, when will I stop carrying it alone? So January 1st was the signal. November will be the release. But somewhere in between, the story started breathing. And maybe that's what you're witnessing now. Not the launch of a book, the opening of a door. I carried the story. This fall, I release it. Raised by Fire. November 2026. As always, thank you so much for joining me here at the Love Lounge. Be sure to follow me on Instagram for my stoop stories. And if you're not following up on YouTube, you're missing out on my monthly meditations. So thank you so much. I have a big surprise coming in middle July. So again, I so appreciate you sitting by the hearth with me. Until next time.
Thank you for allowing the Love Lounge podcast to be a part of your day. There's nothing you need to take from this. Just let it be with you. If you'd like to explore more, you can find more about Lara at laradoughty.com or raisedbyfire.com and follow Lara on Instagram at the Lara Doughty. The light is on. Our door stays open.